Today's show is quite the pearl. We have the greatest final girl, who's sweet as silk and spicy as cinnamon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Melanie Kinnaman. How are you, Melanie?
Yay.
Wow.
We are so excited to have you here. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. I'm doing well, thank you. You're listening
I
to,
love the intro. I'm flattered. No one's given me quite the intro.
oh, well, thank you. I'm glad I can make some kind of impression. If there's anything uh I wanted to take out of this was that you have a good time.
And
Because
and
we're
you brought
thrilled.
you brought in Cinnamon. My favorite song is Cinnamon Girl by Neil Young. So
Oh, great song.
There we go.
That's
yeah,
a
'cause
great
it's
song.
cinnamon, cinnamon. I was growing up. I loved Cinnamon Girl. Yeah.
It is a great tune. I actually just rediscovered that a few weeks ago. It was in a book I was reading, Stephen King book. I forget which one, but I wasn't familiar with the song, and now it's in my like weekly mix.
That's great. It growing up in Massachusetts, it legitimized my name.
It legitimized it. Which, okay, so let's talk about that. So you grew up. You're an East Coaster as well, and um, how old were you when you like got into show business? How did that all play out?
Well, I started dancing at 4. Um,
My gosh.
yeah, I started. I
So you
always
knew like right off the bat, like,
I knew off the bat, and sort of the first years in 4, 5, 6. By the time I was 7, I knew I wanted to be an entertainer. Um, People that know me really well know that Dick Van Dyke is my idol, and he's the ultimate entertainer. I adored him. I watched Mary Poppins over and over again. I think he's the ultimate performer. Anyway, so I wanted to, at that age, 7, 8 years old, absolutely wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be a singer, dancer, which I was, but I wanted to parlay that into acting. And that I did later, 13, 14 years old. I started taking lessons and classes. I went to New York. I would commute. And that's how it started.
oh, that's
And
exciting.
you're still dancing. As I
Still
follow you on
dancing,
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, I
still,
do like it. The videos of you dancing.
still dancing. And I still teach. I don't teach at a studio anymore because I like my own free time. I don't like the to have to punch in. So I teach
Private dancing?
private lessons,
Hmm.
and I can
Oh,
teach
wow.
when I want, and I can go on my schedule. So it works doing private lessons. And I teach people, teenage girls, some guys, but mostly teenage girls around 16, 17 years old who want to be professional dancers. So it's fun because they already have the talent. They already want to do it, you know?
That's that's because that's like incredible for you because you don't have to do anything you don't want to, obviously, at this point, and to give back like that. What's some advice for somebody that might be listening or watching who wants to be a professional dancer at that, you know,
Yeah.
adolescent age? What would you
Well,
say?
you have to really train, you know. It starts out young, but even if you start out a little later, it's all about the training, um, the perseverance, the dedication. It does take a certain kind of discipline, because it's not easy. Any physical, listen, sports, dancing, any of the arts, you have to have discipline. I think anything you do, any job you do, if you want to do it well, there's a discipline. So that's my main thing. You really have to be have a conviction. You have to be kind of obsessed.
It's just a few years ago I did a for a nonprofit. They had a fundraiser for Dance for a Chance, and it was a struggle for me. For sure. But yeah, it was practice, practice, practice. When we
That's
talk
it.
about the
Practice,
discipline,
practice.
yeah.
Yep, discipline. You have to eat right, all that stuff, you know.
And it makes you feel good too. I mean, if you're when you're in the zone, like there's nothing like it. It's
Oh, yeah, there are so many days, as all of us, I don't feel like working out, but I'll tell you, as you know, right after, or even 10, 15 minutes into it, but certainly afterwards, you just feel so great. I can tell a day how if I don't work out and start the day, it's a whole different day. I mean, you can do it, but I feel different.
Mhm. I always have to remember that feeling that as you leave the gym,
How
that's
you
what you're
feel.
going for. Yeah.
Yes, yes, because the starting sometimes is like, oh, I don't want to do.
That's the worst part.
Reward is the afterwards, and it lasts for a long time, right? How
Yeah.
you feel just goes with you. And it's not just physical. For me, it's a whole mental thing. It really helps your mindset. your
Yeah, it's
mood,
good positivity and self-esteem, and you need that. You
everything,
need that release. Like
everything.
exercise, the best thing you can do for yourself.
It's not just about physical, really.
Oh yeah.
Running in the rain all night, these sort
Running
of
in
things. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
running in the rain all night, freezing rain. They're
yeah.
hosing you down.
50
They're holding
pound chainsaws, whatever.
your chainsaw, make sure they can see through your shirt. It's
Yeah.
like
So
I was the only one that didn't know you could see through the shirt. I was so wrapped up in what I was doing. I thought, why are they hosing me down?
why?
And,
What is
and,
this?
and when I saw the film all those months later, I went,
Now that's what we're looking at. So
That's what's going on. So we have to talk about so much great work, but we have to talk about Friday the 13th, part
sure,
five, A New Beginning.
that's the thing that most people care about. So all the
I
other,
no, we care, but I'm
no,
very
I'm not
interested
saying
in
you. I'm saying I do understand. You
yeah.
could do a whole bunch of work, but certain people are just interested in certain things, and I get it. And I'm grateful that they're still interested.
well, it's one of
For,
the
40 years later, like I can't believe it's been, 40 years just a few
I
weeks ago that this
know.
Ah,
happened.
I did it
And
when I was 10.
yeah,
Wow.
that's what we're saying. And it was the second Friday 13th that I saw in the theater. So my birthday is March 23rd. So I waited until that
Uh,
Saturday to go see it. And I had my dad bring me and my little sister. And then this really ages me because this was back in the day. I wanted to remember the movie. So we brought I bring a tape recorder in so I
uh,
could listen back to the movie later since we had to wait months and months for VHS. But
well,
yeah, I
happy
couldn't.
belated birthday.
Well, thank you. So that's why I kind of always correlate it kind of with that. And then I was just like, and I don't know about you, like 4 decades, I've like that just feels like it went by in a blink.
That's the scary thing about life. I didn't realize it when I was younger, but yes, it goes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I was looking at um I forget how it came up, but I graduated high school in 2000, and I'm like,
How
that was
dare you?
25 years ago.
Yeah,
Kids.
It feels like yesterday.
yeah.
We also
And
you have an age today. I feel like the
Uh,
world has they're the ones that's going on. Like you're okay, Melanie. I think you got to figure it out somehow.
I
I,
must
You
say,
knew you knew the trick, whatever
I
that
had to
is.
figure it out.
yeah,
It's always a trick. You have to figure it out. You have to, well, I also enjoy challenges and kind of challenging myself and having like a little game with myself. And mine is fighting the aging process. It's like a new fun thing. I mean, if I have to face it, I've made it kind of a game.
makes
Yeah, and
sense.
there's so many options and things you can do. It's
Well,
like
I
the
just,
best time to be alive in terms
You
of
take
how to
care of your body. Yeah.
yeah, I
take
just,
care.
I work out. I try to do the right things. I try to use the right skincare. It's all that stuff, and it's fun. It's fun to make a negative about getting old. I found some fun in it, and how can I keep it at bay? You know,
I like it.
There's
find new
there,
stuff and you know, new skin creams or a new laser or hey, bring it.
I
there's
read
there's
that.
something in the Crystal Lake water because the first five Final Girls have really not aged.
No,
That
Where I see,
yeah,
I've now feel like I've aged older than everybody, and they've
no,
kind of maintained. Yeah.
it's something in the water though, yeah. Or maybe it's Adrienne King's wine that she's drinking. I don't know.
Maybe that's it. If everybody's having Adrian's wine, then
I'm not, but
yeah.
uh,
I'm drinking Love Potion #9. So
love potion number 9.
I'm glad you caught the reference. As I said it, I thought people are too young. They're going to go, what?
Oh, it's a classic. It's a
Yeah.
classic. So
Uh,
let's ask you this: filming Friday the 13th, A New Beginning.
Mhm.
When did you realize it was a Friday the 13th film during that process?
Oh, wow. I have to say, maybe a couple weeks in. Now, the audition they told me, but it meant nothing to me because I hadn't seen any of them. I'm not a big horror fan. I'm sorry. Um, so I hadn't seen any of them. And what happened was when I got cast, I asked to see part four so that I would know, you know, I need the backstory. I need
mhm.
some knowledge about what I'm creating here. And
Sure.
that was shocking. And then once we got into it, I realized what I'd gotten into. And I just tried to make it different and interesting, really.
Well, it's good, and I know a lot of as most
Good
fans know,
call.
it was shot under the repetition,
Right.
and I know some of the some actors like they it wasn't until one of the Jasons showed up on the set. They're like, "Oh, this is what this this
Well, they
is."
had,
But yeah,
yeah, they had told me ahead of time.
yeah,
They called me, and I knew who, again, it didn't mean a whole lot to me because I hadn't seen the others until I got the role. But yeah, they told me everything. I had to sign an NDA that
yeah.
I wouldn't reveal anything. I knew the story, I knew the plot, I knew the ending, you know. So, well, by the
And
time Jason showed up on set, I was running and screaming. So,
You're already in it. You're already yeah,
yeah,
into the thick.
yeah. And the interesting thing is when Tom Morga, who played Jason, and I were embroiled in our scenes, which was weeks and weeks of physical running, screaming, chainsaws, all that stuff. We never spoke to each other, which was very smart. He stayed away from me. We had no relationship whatsoever, which was a little unnerving as a
Wow.
theater actress. Yeah, I came from New York theater, and you kind of, you create with each other, and but this was different. I never spoke to John Shepard, who played Tommy, and I never spoke to Tom Morga.
So that
interesting.
that friction added to the realism of the separation sort of thing with the
Yes,
characters.
that was good that he wasn't really an actor, he's a stunt guy, but he knew enough to create that persona and stay away from me. So we would be embroiled, real tight stuff for weeks. And sometimes it was he and I alone with the director and the crew working 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning. So you would have this kind of connection, an intense connection, because you're going through all this in with the rain. But whenever the director yelled cut, Tom would just walk away from me and I'd be standing there alone. Only at one point, I'm telling things ahead of time because I'm not letting you ask me, but there was one scene where he's chasing me and I run and fall and I'm crawling. When we finished that, he came over to me and said, "Are you okay?" It's the first time he spoke to me 2 months in.
Oh,
Mm.
wow, that long, 2 months, because that's like you said, you come from a theater background. I mean, it's very intimate. You know all the ins and outs, all the idiosyncrasies. To have
Yeah.
that separation on there must have been like quite
Yeah.
a departure.
But it was so grueling and it was he and I alone that I think it moved him to come over and say, "Are you okay?" Because he really wasn't. That's how grueling it was. And he was surprised that I was okay.
So grueling is what day-to-day filming. I know long days you're talking about. What was it like on the set and the atmosphere? I mean, was it shot? Was it the heat? Like, explain,
Very
talk to us
cold.
about that.
It was very cold. I wish we had heat. It was shot October. As a matter of fact, the chainsaw scene was shot on Halloween night.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, there
Yeah.
you go. That's a
Yeah.
little a
Yeah.
little Easter egg. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, but it was freezing. And, we shot in LA and northern in Camarillo. But even if it's warm during the day in October, it's freezing at night,
Yeah.
especially when you're wet with rain machines, because the
Oh,
rain
yeah.
is not just normal rain, it's machines and it's just pummels you. So I was freezing. He was freezing, but he had to work in a wetsuit so he wouldn't be so cold. I didn't have the wetsuit. I had those horrible jeans and that. So I
I
think
know
he
you love to talk about that pink
The
sweater.
jeans.
freaking thing. But I think he felt sorry for me because he was in a wetsuit. That's how cold it was.
Oh
So
my gosh.
what I mean by grueling is I don't care about the hours. It was the conditions of the cold, the wet, and the physicality, the running. It was an endless running, slipping and falling, which they kept. I mean, I'm glad they did. I fell a lot of times for real, and they kept it a
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How could you
And
not? That's intense too.
Ball in a splat of mud, you know. Um,
It's very
they kept
it's
it, which is good. I didn't want to do it over and over and over again, so I said, just keep everything if you can.
do it right the first time.
It's over.
when we watch the physicality of that, it's really when you really take into account all the running and everything, that's an intense shooting right there. I mean, that's a lot.
Because it was every day, and we shot it.
Yeah.
So we'd start. I'd go to the set at 4 in the afternoon, hair and makeup, and hair and makeup, and then we start shooting. Once it got dark, which at that time was 5:36, and we'd shoot till 8 o'clock in the morning.
Did you have a stunt person? Because like sometimes I would see John Shepard would be switched out with a stunt, but I never either that or I didn't see you were ever switched out.
No, the only time was you probably won't remember, but I'm in the barn and I have to crawl up a ladder, which I was more than happy to do myself, and they wouldn't let me do it. And they explained why, that if I fall, they can't finish the film, blah, blah, blah. But I said, look, I can do this. It's just crawling up a ladder. If I can do a chainsaw, please, I'm running like a maniac. At least let me walk up the stairs. The reason is I was afraid the stunt girl was going to have a big ass.
Uh,
That's actually something I would never think about, but
I thought
that would
about
make sense.
because it was a vanity thing, and I was a little bit heavier than I am now, and the camera puts on even more weight. So once I saw
Right.
these, I went, I need to lose weight. But anyway, I didn't want anybody
Oh
with
no.
fun.
That's so funny though. You would never think about that. But, holding the chainsaw and all the running and falling, it was the latter that they're like, no, no,
It
that
was
this is it.
and interesting. That's the one that made me nervous because she was a back shot of her going up, and I went, God. But
yeah.
she had a great body, so
Oh, that's
that's
hilarious.
nothing to worry about. But I'm sure people are going to hate me now for talking about that. But
No
No.
way. No, you're amongst friends. That's hilarious.
Well, I
Um,
was just, yeah, I was curious because I would see the stunt performers and I was like, and I kind of, I've
it's a
seen
good
it many,
question.
many times, but I was like, I don't think Melanie was ever switched out for like, I don't know why everybody else had that, or now
yes, I
we kind of know.
was. I
Yeah.
was for one scene, the
Yeah.
going up the ladder uh, at the top of the barn. Yeah, just before the fight scene where I kill Jason.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you realize at one point during film that you were kind of part of something bigger, or did that kind of come later?
It came much later, much, much later. I didn't know. I didn't even know what a Final Girl was. Um, I didn't know the franchise was that important. I think it got more important later anyway. But I'm glad I didn't know because I think it might have been a little daunting. Maybe not. Thinking maybe it would have affected. Um, it would have put maybe some pressure that I
Mm.
didn't need because this was my first film as a lead character, and it was Paramount. So that's intimidating enough. And you're the lead, so you're kind of carrying a good portion of the film. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know that it was somewhat important. But I don't know, you guys tell me. I think it became more important much later.
I just think for you to be, like you said, an actress in a Paramount film is wow enough. But to
Yeah.
be a part of a franchise that generations will watch forever and to be in that part of film history
And
is
I had
something
no
very
idea.
few people would ever experience. I mean,
And
it's
I had no
amazing.
idea. And do you agree that it came later, or was it in the 80s at the time? Was it important then?
So I was 15 at the time, and so I remember this was, and that people are like, oh, this wasn't a true Friday 13th. There was kind of all that kind of back and forth. But to me, part five was kind of the last of the original, because the way the look and everything
Right.
was and then part six is a lot of people's favorites, but that's when it kind of became a slick commercial thing, and it wasn't
Yes.
quite the same to me.
Well, and it wasn't going to be that because I
Yeah.
was trying to do 5 and 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
was gonna
whole-
ask about that because
Right.
I think as fans know that I think you and Shavar was originally contracted for six.
It was me
How,
and John Shepard.
oh, John Shepard. Okay. And how far did that go, or at what point did they said, "Oh, we're just gonna go go another direction"?
Well, it wasn't their choice. And I still, ooh. Anyway,
Oh, really?
I was signed to do part 5 and 6
Yeah.
just before I did 5. When we wrapped 5, they said, we're going to be sending you the script for 6. I had maybe 3 or 4 weeks, a little time off. Then they sent me the script. It was very interesting. It was going to pick up where the last shot of part 5 with him behind me.
Mhm.
So it was very interesting. And again, I couldn't divulge what it was about, and I was all into it. They said, we're going to start in a month. And as I'm preparing, I get a phone call from my agent that just heard from Paramount that John Shepard does not want to do it. He doesn't want he doesn't want to do horror anymore. He's a born again Christian, and he believes that this is not good and it's against his beliefs. So I said, true to form, get somebody else, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
yeah. No, we can't. It has to be you and John. And I said, get somebody else. And because I was really desperate for it to work, you know, and I desperately wanted to do it. But they said, no, we've been figuring this out for the last few weeks, and we realize that we have to go a different way. because you and John were recognizable, and to put you with someone else. So Paramount has decided, since people kind of didn't like it wasn't Jason, we're going to go back to the old formula, and that wouldn't work with you. So
See, no, I'm sorry to interrupt. That's bullshit to me that that would happen. I'll tell you why. Just
it would
because,
have changed, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
well,
It would have changed my career, and it would have changed my placing in the whole franchise to have done five,
right.
6. I think.
It's different, yeah, to have two, and no disrespect to John Shepard, he did a great job. But you were the star of five. I mean, you
Not if you
could
talk to John.
you could use,
You
well,
got top billing.
I don't know John, but I can just say without
just the Q&A
disrespecting,
with them. Not if you talk to John.
without disrespecting his work, you could replace him as he was replaced anyway, and kept you in there, and it would have been a better film. Five is, my opinion. And I'm not saying this because you're here. It's the best standalone Friday the 13th there is. If you took all them away and left that, the film has legs on its own. It works. It could be called something else, but six does not. And I felt like if they brought you back and kept that storyline going, it's like it would be a new thing. And
Well, yes,
I couldn't agree with you more.
a new beginning. They tried something different. I think it was commendable to step out of the box, to think out of the box, try something different from the franchise. I thought it was a good challenge, but they chickened out.
Yeah.
They weren't
And
going
It
until
wouldn't
John.
happen again today. They would. I feel like somebody would lose their job over that kind of oversight.
And in retrospect, because I was thinking,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so obviously Tommy continues, and it kind of
Mhm.
feels like it's a different
It's a
character.
different, yeah.
But I was like, oh, what would have been like if it was like you and Tommy in the opening scene and you got killed in the cemetery? And that would have so much more resonance with fans that would take them off guard, and not that we'd want to see you personally killed off in the first scenes, but like then you would matter even more as part of the
Well, I
franchise.
wasn't going to be
I
killed
think
off.
so.
I
Yeah.
wasn't going to be killed off in the first scenes anyway, so it would have been an interesting
Yeah.
story. He becomes the new killer. My only consolation is that I live forever because I don't die in part 5.
Right, you do. Yeah, you're immortal.
Yes. So
They
that's
didn't
my
get you.
consolation for getting screwed on part
Yeah.
6.
And has anybody approached you? Because obviously, like I know Adrian King, there's been some more fan films has become a thing. And as you're talking, I was like, oh, somebody needs to pick this up, and do a little one of those 45-minute fan films. And some of them are pretty decent quality because I think fans would be curious, like, where's Pam now, and
Yeah.
and what's happening.
Well, I don't, this is going to cause ire. I don't do fan films. I will do low budget, SAG, that sort of thing. I will do ultra low budget. I'm not against that. I just don't do fan films. And no one's really approached me anyway to do that story. Maybe I'd rethink it. Fan films have been approaching me for quite a few years now to do stuff. I just didn't like the scripts, and I'm not really big into the funding campaigns that they do, and they offer fans stuff and they take their money. I don't know. I just have a problem with it. It's just me.
I'm with
Sure.
you there. You're an actress. You've done,
I'll
you're
tell you the
established.
secret.
You don't need to crowdfund and be like, "Hey, Matt, Robert, I need $10 to do
Well,
this."
I know it does well for other people. I just
Yeah,
can't do
no, I'm not knocking fan films, but I understand your point of view
Yeah.
with that
Well, I've
for
turned
sure.
quite a few down. And as the years go on, I get more and more offers. But I will tell you a secret, I just signed to do a great low budget SAG film, which I'm shooting in New York later this year. And I can't tell you who the co-star is, but you're going to flip out because it's going to
Congratulations!
Well,
Oh
we're
wow,
looking forward to that.
you heard it here first.
and it's not horror per se, it's suspense and special effects and all that stuff. I'm the lead character, but the co-star is a big deal. So it's going to be great. And it's not a fan film, but it is a low budget, and they obviously are getting investors.
Awesome.
So,
Congratulations!
We'll be looking
Oh,
forward
we
to
can't
that.
wait.
Yeah.
and my
Yes.
thrill is it's going to be shot in New York City, which is where I'm from. So
Oh,
Awesome.
so you're back? Yeah,
I get to go back. Yeah.
yeah. If you just want to add Robert and I to the guest list for the premiere,
Hey,
well, I
I
don't
would.
We'll be
want
there.
I
to do.
absolutely will. I am not joking. I
I'm
will.
kidding. We would love to see that, and congratulations. That's so
Thank you.
That's awesome.
exciting.
So speaking of fans, when did you hear about the convention world, or how did that
Wow.
become part of your life?
A
Yeah,
long
good question.
time ago, probably over 20 years ago. No, where are we at now? So it's in the 90s, and I wouldn't do them, and I'll tell you why. I felt really bad about taking money from fans, and that's what you have to do at conventions. You charge them to sign stuff. So I didn't do them, and I turned them all down. The reason I started doing was over time, I would say around, I can tell you when I did my first one, 2011. I started in 2010, 29, starting getting from fans emailing me and saying, I bought this, I purchased this, I spent some ridiculous amount of money. Is this your signature? They were all forged. All that
Oh,
was coming was all forged. And I said, wait a second. So I would tell them, please don't buy anything. And no, this isn't me. I'm sorry you got screwed and scammed. And then I started thinking, you know what? This is crazy. There are people not only scamming fans, but they're using my name and they're making money. So that year, I decided to start doing them. And I contacted who I knew to be, I did research and I said, oh, this Sean Clark, he's supposed to be the top guy, which he is. And I contacted him and we talked right away and he started booking me for Monster Mania, I think was my first one. So he did get me out there and I explained to everybody why I didn't do them. I wasn't putting them down. I just didn't want to charge. And then I told people why I was doing them because fans were getting screwed. And if they're going to spend this money, at least spend a lower amount on me. It's a legitimate signature.
And I have one of your signatures right here at one of the conventions. It's probably hard to show up, but I
yeah.
do. This is part of my press kit that I
I
have
see
from.
you. Where did we meet?
I think the first time, actually, I think the first time was like at a Dark Delicacies something,
Oh, yes.
and then there was another t at another convention, and that's
Okay.
when I know you and John Debbie Sue was there, and I brought my I think Part Five press book,
Oh,
which I
wow.
should. It's kind of getting delayed. I should have taken better care of this, but it has all the great photos and stuff like that.
I
That's
love
great.
that.
Look
Yeah,
at
so
you. I don't even own that. You're a big shot.
but that's all we had back in the day. There was no
Yeah.
toys or
Nothing, nothing.
nothing, posters and
You
this,
know
and
what
that
I
that was
have? I have a lobby card. Remember those?
yeah, oh yeah.
I have two lobby cards. That's all I have.
Matthew probably
Really?
has no idea what a lobby card is, but
What's a lobby card?
so usually they come in like dozens, and then theaters would have, in addition to poster areas, they'd have lobby cards, and they were about 11 by 14. A bit, some were pretty big, and then the UK
Yeah.
had different versions, and
Oh, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
And so that's when you go into the lobby, you see the promos for the film, and those are called lobby cards. I sign, people bring in the stuff from Germany and the foreign ones, the Japanese. There's an Italian one with me on the ground in a bikini getting stabbed. That's nothing from the movie, but their lobby card in Italy, in Rome was theirs for Friday the 13th, and they had me with this flowing blonde hair in a white bikini. I
yeah.
loved
The
Gotta
foreign
love the
posters are
Italians.
usually outrageous. Now this one I do like. And it's pretty simple, but
it.
I kind of like the simplicity. But then you see the foreign poster, and you're right.
Yeah.
There's barely sometimes a single image that actually comes from the film, but
No, but the artwork, it's just great.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I loved being an Italian vixen in a bikini.
Yeah, who doesn't want that?
Yeah,
Come
because I
on.
didn't get to look that good in part five.
You
No, you
look
look
great in part five. And I've said that before on many shows because
Oh,
Robert has done locations for the film and we've talked about it at length before. I mean, we're fans and yeah, no, you did a great
you've been
job.
to Pinehurst.
so yeah, so with the actual house, obviously they don't let anybody pass the gate, but obviously where the trailer park is in Franklin Canyon Reservoir, I've been
Yes.
many times, and you just reminded me because when you're talking about like your makeup survived the entire night, so
Yeah.
Blue
that
eyeshadow.
should be yeah.
It was like a Sharpie.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
just on. Yeah, that's it. It's not
Gone.
going anywhere.
No,
no,
they constantly reapplied it, and I would bitch to the director and the makeup people. I said, "Look, she's not supposed to look this eyeshadow anymore. I've been in the mud 15 times in the face, and no, they were putting that blue stuff on.
yeah.
So I
Well,
tried everything to make it where they didn't put any more blue eyeshadow on so that they wouldn't stop. But they're hosing me down. I thought, oh, good, thank God, the makeup will come off,
And
please.
it looks good when Pam's doing the side eye because she's giving side
Oh,
eye in the film.
mhm.
someone sent me a picture from the movie. I've never seen this screen grab of me giving side eye. It's the
Yeah.
greatest picture.
Before side-eye was a thing, you were doing it.
I
Well,
created.
you're a trendsetter. That was all you. I'm telling people I know the person that originated side-eye. That's going
I
to be my claim to fame.
and I never knew I did that. It's a great picture. I wish I could get it. I don't know where to
Now,
get
What
it.
do you watch? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Robert. Do you watch your own films? Do you watch Five, or are you one of the actors that it's like I'm
I,
done. I'm moving on.
I've seen it and I'm done. Yeah. I mean, if I happen to be somewhere where I am doing a Q&A and they're showing it, I don't cringe. I mean, I watch it, but no, it's on TV a lot. I turn the channel, you know.
Yeah, it's making the rounds on Pluto. I get a lot of messages of people
Yeah, I
like,
heard it's on Pluto.
yeah, they're like, it's on Pluto because they know like we're fans. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know. We own the films. We're watching it too, and it's amazing.
Pluto's new to, Friday the 13th because I think it
Mhm.
was mostly Max, right? Cinemax
Mhm.
and
Yep.
HBO,
Yeah,
uh, Showtime, remember that? They all did it. And they would have, and is it not TCM? What's the other one that has the marathons? AMC,
TBS, AMC.
AMC.
Yeah,
Every year they have the marathons.
yeah.
Yeah.
AMC loves Friday the 13th. They always have the marathons, and
Yeah, which
I'll
is good.
watch them regardless.
Good.
Yeah.
I like the residuals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you want to see it out there as much as possible. Um, when you were speaking on the side acts, I remember, and granted, now I look at the movie and it's pretty obviously they kept saying it was, the close-ups on Roy and so forth. And at the time, I felt for some reason I was a dumb 15-year-old. I think I was still guessing, but there was moments where everybody would sometimes give a weird look, yourself included, is like, well, maybe they could be, and then they were still trying to kind of have that mystery. But I still think about that when I rewatch it. I was like, oh, they had some parts there where they were kind of maybe trying to throw some either red herrings or um, you would give a certain look that was maybe a little bit out of character that seemed to indicate something maybe nefarious was happening.
As a viewer, know, did you have your own theories as you were halfway through the film, who it might be? Did you
I
know I was the final girl? Because people tell me they knew the second I came on screen I was going to
I
be.
think I knew because obviously by that point I was just like you could identify and then and you're on screen probably more than any other actor, so you can tell John Shepard that's why he's obviously you were the lead. But yeah, I think you always identify who the kind of the final girl was, and not that they were all kind of the blonde hair, but that was kind of part of it. And you reminded me a little bit of Kimberly Beck, who was the
Yeah,
part four final girl as well, especially when you were running with
yeah.
Reggie, kind of had some of that there. But I think for a while, I kept thinking it was Tommy because they were obviously going down that road, and so I remember it was a little bit of shock when they shot out Tommy and he's in the barn, kind of during that final scene. So
Mhm.
I wasn't a very smart kid.
Well, I had a bunch
Yeah, you were.
come in and tell me over time, over the conventions, they'll come in and say, I knew the second you came on screen and walked to that van that you were the final girl. Really? Yeah.
You know why I think a lot of people think that, or at least me. Your screen presence in the film, your character is a constant. I mean, you have all these things deteriorating around them. You have people running off and getting hot and having sex, and you're like strong throughout the film. Even when you're scared and running, it's like a constant. Like I believe every scene you're in versus some other ones where I'm like, nah, they don't have a chance. And I think that like really adds to it. And that's why I think it's like one of the best it's the best Friday the 13th and one of the best standalone horror movies. Is it feels gritty and like a horror film where six, no disrespect, is very glossed up and the soft focus, and it's just yeah, it feels more like a production. Five is just feels real, you know.
Yeah,
And I think
they all looked good and we looked real.
That's what
that's
looks
why I
great. It
say,
looks like
yeah.
something Tarantino would shoot versus like the more staged kind of
Yeah.
one shot. It's yeah, it
Did you
works.
know it's his favorite
I know
Friday?
this is Tarantino's favorite Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And
It's
he
part
shows
five.
it
Yeah.
every year at his theater on Beverly in LA. He
Yeah.
shows the New
The new
Beverly.
Bev. That's coming this year too.
He does it every year. And he
So great.
promised, I think this year, if I'm in town, we're going to do a Q&A.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd be great.
we'll be there.
Hopefully I'll be in town. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So great.
But yeah, the film, I mean, and over the years, it's kind of because people kind of called it the sleazier one or whatever, and because um, but I don't just the gritty, real feel of it, like we were talking about, is what appeals to me. And then, when you mentioned that fans said as soon as you showed up on screen, I think in that first scene, you kind of also you indicate you're not taking any shit from that smarmy driver.
I couldn't
He's
stand
going,
it.
yeah, and you're just
You
like, I'm
couldn't?
not.
I couldn't stand, and I couldn't stand the actor. For some reason, it was perfect. It was my first day shooting on the set.
Yeah.
Just couldn't stand him, which was perfect for the scene. And I transferred it and couldn't stand the actor. He and I are friends now.
Yeah,
We've known
yeah.
each
But
other.
on set, he
I
was like
couldn't stand,
smarmy.
I couldn't stand him. I couldn't
That's
stand.
it worked. Like whatever it is the fact that yeah, it's like art
Yeah.
imitates life. So he
Yeah.
was. I mean, your friends now and everything, but on set it was a real like I can't do
I
this.
can't stand him.
I can't.
And he kind of continued it. Like we wouldn't be, he'd yell,
Oh man.
cut. And during the breaks, he'd still be on like, God, I hate this guy.
Well, it worked. So
Oh, that's a gem.
He kind of gave me a gift because there wasn't a whole lot of acting there when he was there.
that's awesome. So we were talking about conventions, and then coming up in just a few months is Crystal Lake Nightmares
And August.
in August. And so I'm excited about that. As we know, the Halloween conventions have been going on for multiple years, kind of at the 5-year intervals. And Friday 13th has never quite, I'm not quite sure they've never quite done it.
Oh, we never get any love. I mean, we never get any kind of props, and we're getting it this year thanks to Tommy Brunswick, who is the showrunner for the show and promoter, and she also does Motor City Nightmares. If anyone in Michigan knows that, that's that Tommy Brunswick. So yeah, it was her brainchild, and we're grateful for that because I've run into quite a few Friday actors that I've never met before. And well, I ran into them at Del Howison's farewell, and they said, "Isn't it great that we're getting something like this because we've never had it. Everyone else gets it."
Yeah, you need the love. I mean, Friday the 13th is top three. It's the Mount on the Mount Rushmore of horror
Kind of
franchises.
nice that the whole franchise is being recognized
Yeah, it's I'm glad it's happening now.
because
And
Halloween always gets,
yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street always gets, and for some reason we're like the bastard child or
Yeah,
something.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I don't know
weird
why
because
that is, but
it
I
needs
don't
the
know why
love.
it is. Yeah, explain to me, why is that? Why are we the low man on the totem pole?
I don't know because
It's
people
a
when you
great
yeah,
franchise.
yeah, when you think
And
about
they
the
all
big.
copied us, by the way. Not Halloween. They didn't
Oh
copy.
yeah,
No,
right.
but it's usually one of the big
It's
three
true.
from the 80s. These are
Yes.
the tentpole films that all fans still love. And part of it is somebody probably just never took the time to try to put a convention together. But we've had great things between the Crystal Lake Memories documentary, the
That was great.
book, and I think that's where we had first met at Dark
That's
Delicacies,
right.
which now rest in peace.
Godspeed.
Did I
Yeah.
see? Did you get a Tony Todd chair? Is that from?
No, no, that
Oh,
was
oh,
there.
oh, that was there. Okay.
At the party. Dell had
Thanks
it at
for
the
showing
party.
them love too.
Oh man.
You're a
Yeah.
class act. That's a staple. That was a staple. And when I saw, because I followed their feeds as well. When I saw you there showing love and like it was just so apropos and having it was just like it was great. It was great to see that
So
kind of love.
they're doing a documentary on the whole thing, which they
Oh,
were
good.
shooting at the party, and they were shooting, I guess, for a while at different things at Dark Delicacies. But uh, so I realized they were doing the documentary. They asked me to do certain things like sit in the Tony Todd chair. I mean, I was thrilled to do that. What an amazing chair in person, I cannot tell you.
Oh, that
Tony
looks so cool.
that in his home, and they got it for the event. And yeah, it's pretty great.
Oh,
And
it is great.
delicacies have been so kind to so many of performers. They were very, very good to me, invited me to signings. They've been very supportive of all of our careers.
I hear that a lot. We had on our show last week a producer from a horror movie,
Mhm.
Popeye the Slayer Man, who's done a few films, and they have showed him love over the years with like allowing signings and things like that. Things that weren't going to be a huge moneymaker for them. It feels like I've only met them once or twice, but they care about the artists, and
Yes. Yeah.
it's a shame that they're gone. It's such a cool spot.
They're gonna be at Crystal Lake Nightmares. They
Okay.
got themselves a table, and they're going to be meeting people and selling stuff from Dark Delicacies, and,
Good.
and talking to people. And I told Dell he should be signing his book there because he's got a new book coming out. But he's going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
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 you're
they
going to
still
be
have
there,
the
which
love
is
for,
where
yeah. There's
we're
still
all.
love for, we talk about physical media, and it's like we still hold on to and still have physical media and books and everything. And
Oh
yeah.
Oh
God.
yeah.
And
It's the
the brick and
best.
mortar stores, it's sad to see them go. So nice to walk into a store and see the items and touch them. And, a lot of the new people miss all that because everything's online. But I come from everything was brick and mortar stores that you went. If you needed something, you had to drive to the store. That's all gone now.
I know, and there was something really special about that too. It meant something. You took your time a little bit more. You weren't just clicking a button and then,
Yes. You met people,
yeah, you
You
could see what it
search through
looks like.
you flip through poster. You had to actually physically search for stuff.
you bought things you didn't expect you were going to buy. It's like it's Christmas, it's great.
It
You get
is.
things you don't expect. And so I miss that, you
Yeah.
know.
No, me
I
too.
come from a time where we went to record stores and
Oh yeah.
went through the bins. They don't have that anymore. You're probably too young for that, but
No.
had record bins.
Yeah. But
I
One
there's one
dollar record.
store there's
I
one
had to
store in the
search.
valley that does that still.
Yeah.
And
Which,
it's like it's called CD Trader in Tarzana, but they
okay.
just have bins everywhere and it's like it's yeah, and it's always packed, but it's like the one place. You miss it so much.
So in 1985, because I would obviously watch all the credits, and so I had to go to the record store and find Pseudo Echo, the album
Oh,
that
it's a
Tiffany
great
Holmes. Yeah,
song.
and so
Am
I
I
played
right?
that yeah over and over again,
Song. And
and
it holds up.
Yeah.
It's still great.
Oh, it holds up. Oh, absolutely.
I had never heard it. She brought it in. That was on her playlist, Tiffany Helm, and she wanted that in the scene. That's all her idea. And it suddenly has become kind of like the theme song of the movie. I
Oh, yeah.
think it's perfect.
yeah, it's a great scene, great sound. It's everything kind of came together. But I remember going through the record store looking for His Eyes and trying to find the right album. They were still relatively new at the time, and luckily
Yeah, they were
they
great.
had it. Yeah, in Omaha, Nebraska. That
Is that where you're from?
yep, this is yep where I'm coming from live. So,
Ah,
but yeah. So, and I feel so obviously this is the 40th anniversary, and I know you're probably doing more conventions than ever. Seems like as we kind of celebrate, is there something that nobody's asked you yet about this film that you're just like, I can't believe nobody's asked me something, or
I
has
don't.
every question been asked?
I don't know. Although the last convention I did in Chicago 2 weekends ago, Days of the Dead, I was asked different questions that I had never heard before. But unless that happens, I think I've been asked everything, and then somebody will come up with something. It wasn't earth-shattering. It was
Yeah,
just like, oh, okay, no one
Mm,
asked me that, you know.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, interesting. I'm sure fans from such a beloved film have thought of everything to ask. And, it's a really good
And what
question, Barbara.
interests them? I mean, they're asking the question because from their personal point of view and how it affected them, that's what they're interested in, you know?
Well, I just want to say for the record that you are the star of Friday the 13th, Part 5,
Mhm.
and you are the most talented on the entire cast, and you
Oh,
can take that to the bank, other people, because we're rolling with that.
wow.
Um, Final question.
And I showed up today.
yeah.
Uh, Crystal Lake Nightmares, is there anything we can look forward to aside from your great presence there? Are you going to be doing any like Q&As or
Oh
anything or
yeah, we're gonna do a Q&A screening. There's all kinds of fun interactive things. I don't want to blow it too much, but I think they've come out with there's a final girl challenge where you get to pick your favorite final girl and be alone with her and kind of ask her questions.
what?
Yeah, there's that. There's the how to be a camper. I think with Adrian King. Then you could get to fight the real Jasons
Mhm.
with fake, with
Oh
fake.
my gosh.
What do they call them? Weapons.
Machetes?
Weapons. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You get to do a real
Wow.
fight with Kane and all the other Jasons, CJ Graham. So you get to do that. She's going to have a escape rooms. I think there's an escape from Pinehurst.
Oh my gosh.
So there's going to be a lot of besides the usual stuff of meeting the stars and the fans and doing Q&As and seeing the movies. You're going to have to get to do interactive weird things. She's coming up with all kinds of fun
Wow.
stuff for the fans to do with you. Oh, like you can pick your favorite victim
Nice.
and
Really?
meet with the victim and relive how they were killed, and then you get killed the same way.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Take
This
my
will be good.
money, please. Like I'm
Think
all
it's
on
all
board.
included in the admission. I don't think there's an extra. I mean, I don't know, but it's not going to be
It's
grab.
not like a standard convention where you just,
Right. There's going to be a lot of different things for you to
wow.
contest. Oh, and then some of the bands like Corey Feldman's band, they're hoping to get Kevin Bacon.
Oh, wow.
And have his band play. So
Oh my gosh.
Tom McLaughlin has a
Oh,
band.
yeah, he does. Yeah.
So there, she's also going to have the bands playing. What's his name? Ari Lehman. I think he's got a band.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're going
Oh,
to
that's
allow.
exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be all kinds of different stuff because she has a huge space that this is going to be in, not just the signing rooms, but she's got all this space. So they're going to do a campground, campfire stories where you sit with your favorite final girls, and tell ghost stories. Yeah, it's
Oh
silly
my gosh.
fun.
Sounds like
Yeah,
a dream for fanatics,
yeah.
that like
I
us
think,
that love the films.
and that's
It's
just a few things that they've told me about.
yeah,
They've got a lot of things in the
yeah.
works for it.
And like you
Wow.
said, so overdue, and like there's no
Yeah.
rhyme or reason why we've not done this before. So
There's a
Right.
contest that you have to enter if you're interested. It's the most annoying camp counselor, the most annoying, why you get killed because you're annoying. And then they
Oh,
have
that's so cool.
kill, you get your kill and you get photographed. Yeah. So you get to be a victim.
Oh, that's
I
so
wonder,
great.
I wonder if they got a Violet dance off.
Or
That would
Pete singing
I'm,
rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tooey.
I'm gonna mention that there should be a Violet dance off. I'm gonna contact them.
That'd be
And
a
also,
good one.
I think those goofy guys that they came out of nowhere, the greasers, the
Yeah,
Reddit.
that's really,
I think they should get Del
Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tooey.
Nunez in the outhouse singing, "Ooh, baby, man," and you get
Who,
to sit with him.
yeah, who does that when they're going? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
you gotta have a duet. Yeah,
and
oh,
I
it's
pitched this to
gold.
the Halloween
I'm gonna.
conventions, and they always have everybody. How many people all dressing up as Michael? I'm like, forget that. Everybody can dress up as Jake. It was like everybody dress up as your favorite victim, and then because we
Yes,
have
Yeah.
hundreds to choose from, and as fans, we would all immediately recognize, oh, there's Pam or there's
yeah.
Tom, that I was like, have some do something a little bit different. But yeah, now that and I'm going to practice my Violet dance
Oh,
moves
I'm
to.
sure I'm gonna mention that. They should do that. Violet Jackson.
And some fans probably still know it. They,
I wonder. I'm sure. Yeah,
yeah,
Part Five fans know it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if Tiffany still knows how to do the dance. I'm
How to
sure
how
she
to
does.
cut
Yeah,
cut a rug,
she
how to
does,
tear
and
it
they're
up.
gonna do it to that song. It has to be the pseudo echo.
yeah, 100%. So
Well, we're never going to watch Friday the 13th Part 5 again without thinking of this day, and it's going to mean it's like going to be watching all over for the first time. So,
Well, we can watch it together because she's going to show it at that Friday the 13th Crystal Lake Nightmares. She's
yes.
going to have the theater, with Q&As with all the stars. They're going to show each Friday the 13th. So
Oh, I
we
can't wait.
we can watch it together.
We can watch together, and anything you need that weekend, if you need water or whatever,
Yeah,
just point your finger, Melanie, and we're on it. We're going to
they'll
take
take
care of
care
it.
of us. They'll take care of us. Yeah.
But thank you so much
Oh,
for coming on. This has been
it's a pleasure.
truly an honor. Thank
Such a
you.
pleasure. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.
we will.
Absolutely. And
Hey, for
please,
my German fans, I'll be in Germany August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd
ooh,
in Cologne, Germany for a Weekend of Hell. Or is it Weekend? No, I'm sorry, Weekend of Horrors. Excuse me.
Weekend of Horrors.
I
Alvida's
like
and
Weekend of
Oxliden
Hell.
coming
That
out.
should
And
be.
Yeah. And I'm going to be in Atlantic City for my East Coasters. I'm going to be there in May at
oh,
New Jersey HorrorCon. So, look on my
excellent.
Facebook and it'll tell you where I'm going to be this year. Because I really pushed to have a lot of appearances this year because I kind of sat idle. The last couple of years, I didn't do that many shows. So I thought this is the year I need to do some shows this year. So
Well, you're making up
100%.
for it because,
I am.
please follow Melanie on Instagram at Screen Siren 5 because you're doing a great job promoting it, but
I'm
also
trying. Yeah.
it's like nonstop, events that you're going to, and it's fantastic for us fans. So thank you very much.
He comes out to Crystal Lake Nightmares.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
we
going to be
will.
a
Yeah.
huge success, and we will see you there.
Okay.
And thank you very much, Melanie, for taking the time, and please come
Thank
back.
you. Thank
You
you
are one
for
of the best.
gracious. Thank you.